Hello and welcome to the show, Christelle. What a pleasure it is to have you today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here too.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy to have you here. And we met through Amy, and I'm going to
Yes.
explain more who Amy is. My sister's sister. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it's true. Okay, so here, let's get to know you better. Is there anything you want the listeners to know about you to get started?
I mean, I want them to know that I love inspiring and empowering people. So hopefully this conversation today will do, maybe both of them, inspire and
Yes,
empower them.
those are good words and they mean good things. Well, thank you for that. What three words would you use to describe yourself?
I will say courageous, loyal, and caring.
Oh, those are good. Those are really good. Oh, I like that. Yes, look at that. Courageous, loyal, and caring. All
Yeah.
right. Do you know how to play two truths and a lie where you say three things and I decide which one the lie is?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so you're right. So the first thing I would say is that I have I'm a mom of three.
A mom of three. Okay, that's okay. Mom of three. Got that.
Okay, the second thing that I would say is that I used to be a TV host. Okay, and
These are
then the
fun.
third thing is that what else we need to know about me? I moved to the United States without having anyone here, no family, no friends, not even speaking the language.
Oh, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, I'm gonna set that one aside because I already think that one's true. Oh my gosh. We're gonna get
Okay.
into that. A mom of three. I've had no evidence that you have any children whatsoever. So the fact that you could even have three children, first of all, you're not old enough to have.
No, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm not old enough?
You're not old enough to have
How
three
old do you
children.
think I am? My age
I
mates
think you're
have
like
more than three.
I think you're like 20. But I know.
No, there's no way. I don't even remember what I was doing when I was 20, okay?
Listener, this woman is beautiful.
Thank you.
She's flawless. There's no way she could have three children. I think you used to be a TV host. Sure, why not? I mean, I could totally see it. Okay, so I'm going to say that, and I really believe you did move to the US. Oh, but maybe you had some family or friends. Maybe you spoke the language. Ooh, now this is getting tricky. Oh, okay. I'm still going to go with the mom of three. That's the lie. Is that the lie?
Okay, you got it, but I'm not 20, okay?
Okay. Do you have any children?
No, I don't.
Okay, so no kids. So that was a good one. That was really good because yeah, listener, she just, no way you could have, unless they were triplets and you had them when you were like 16 or something. I don't
I'm not
know.
20.
Okay, and you used to be a TV host, yes?
Yes, yes.
Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. Was that in the US or back where you're from?
Even here, back home, I used to be a TV host. We used to
Wow.
host a talk show. And then here too, I had a TV show that was on Roku. So yeah,
Wow. And remind me which country you're from originally.
I'm from Cameroon.
Cameroon.
And for
Okay.
those who missed their geography lesson, that's in Africa.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we need to be reminded that Africa is not a country, it's a
Please.
continent filled with lots of countries. So yes,
Mhm.
okay, very good. How long have you been in the US?
Well, I moved here in 2015,
2015.
December
Okay.
31st to be exact.
Oh
That's
my
a particular
gosh.
day, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so it's true that you moved here then. You didn't have any family, you didn't have any friends, and you did not speak the language.
That's correct.
Oh my gosh. Oh my, that kind of, and that very first word you used to describe yourself, courageous,
I know, right?
that is definitely true. Definitely, definitely true. That takes a tremendous amount of courage. I can't even wrap my head around how hard, how much courage it took for you to do that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's mind-boggling to me.
And it didn't It wasn't all fun. I landed at LAX and I got arrested by an immigration officer who accused me of coming here to work as a prostitute. And
What?
I was sent in a detention center where I spent 9 months. So yeah, took a little bit of courage for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a horrible start. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm just thrilled that you've got past that and you're now doing all this cool stuff and good for you. Good
Thank
for
you.
you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
All right. One of your favorite movies of all time.
Well, that's gonna be a tricky one. It's not the of all time, but that's the one that I
One.
actually like. Catch Me If You Can.
Okay. And what do you like
Mhm.
about that?
I like the fact that, he just changes his identity all the time. I think it's a cool reminder of what we're capable of. We can truly do anything. Yes, he's a
Right.
fraud. I agree. But at least it shows that we have that potential to really become anything.
Oh, that is so fun. That is such a good reminder that yeah, I mean, and I'm not surprised in a way that, you like that movie because of the potential, because look at what you yourself have done. I mean,
Yeah.
good grief.
Yeah, and we get life always gives us opportunities to reinvent ourselves, right? It's just up to us
Yes.
to believe that we have the potential to do that and seize the opportunities.
Yes. Yes. Gosh, you've got a lot of wisdom. Wow. Okay, so what about somebody who inspires you?
My mom, she passed away in December, but
Oh,
still inspires me. I even today I was thinking about, things that I've learned from her and that I appreciate about her. So yeah, my mom still.
isn't that wonderful? And did she end up coming to the US also?
No, I was able to go visit her when she went to Canada. She went to visit my sister in Canada.
Okay.
So yeah, but she didn't have a chance to come to the US.
Right, but she was in Canada when you got to see her. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. So you did get obviously stayed in touch, and she
Mm-hmm.
continues to inspire you, which is so wonderful, and what a great legacy for your mom that she
Mm-hmm.
continues to inspire you. I love that. That's just wonderful. What about a piece of wisdom you keep handy?
That nothing is impossible. I mean, that one I learned that because as I mentioned, I was in the detention center for 9 months.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
when I got there, I met other detainees who knew what to expect. I didn't. I thought having a visa was enough, but obviously not. I ended up there with, people who came here illegally. So they were prepared. So they started giving me some tips. And one of the things they told me as a piece of advice, really well meant advice, was that I should not expect that I can win my case. I should be prepared that no one, because it has never happened before, no one has ever won their case in there. So the options were either you get deported, or if you find someone who can sponsor you here, you get released either on parole or they bail you out. I couldn't have the other two options. And I had to win my case basically if I didn't want to get deported. So I went to court without a lawyer and I won, which was
Wow.
never seen there for them. And after I did, actually, other people saw what was possible and started winning too.
Oh
So
my gosh.
that taught me or confirmed that really, when people say that something is impossible, they are sharing either their beliefs or their own experience. It doesn't have to be your experience. You can actually make it possible for you.
Oh my gosh, you're blowing my mind. This is so beautiful.
Thanks.
Okay, so I want to know how you won. How did you win?
Yeah, I had to defend myself, and it wasn't easy because, I mean, even with the lawyer, people couldn't do it, but I had no lawyer because there was no one there to hire a lawyer for me. But it was really tough because I had a translator because, as I mentioned, I couldn't speak the language.
Right.
But luckily, I could understand English because in Cameroon, we learn English in school because it's like Canada. One side speaks French, one side speaks English. So both sides
Oh,
have to learn the other language. So if you're from the French side,
oh,
you have to
right.
learn English. So in school, you learn it, but you don't use it, so you don't speak it. So I could
Right.
understand, lucky for me, because when I was, fighting for my my case, the translator was doing a horrible job. I will say something
Oh,
in French, he will say something else. And lucky could understand it, and I had to stop him and say, this is not what I just said. Can you say exactly what I said? And then he will have to repeat himself. So as I was exhausted, I thought, I'm fighting with the government attorney, I'm
oh my
fighting with my own
gosh.
translator. Who is on my side here? Right? But yeah,
Wow.
eventually I won. I provided all the evidence and all the information that they needed. And yeah, that's how I won.
Wow. There aren't even words to describe how absolutely moved I am by how tenacious you were and your courage and you've got a superpower in there of,
I don't. Everybody can. Before that happened to me, I was probably thinking like there's no way I can survive that, right? If when I got my visa in Cameroon, they told me, okay, you're going to the US, but this is what's going to happen. You are going to first spend 9 months in jail before actually seeing.
oh,
I would have said, listen, I can't survive a night in jail. Get it?
oh,
But look at
wow.
what I was able to do, because again, that's how life shows us what we are really capable of, right?
Right.
Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credits. Like right now, you
Right.
think, oh, you have a superpower. I will never do that. But promise you, if you find yourself in a place where you have to find the strength within you, you will find that strength, right?
Right.
That's just how life helps us see who we truly are or what we are really capable of. We don't give
Oh,
ourselves enough credits. So
uh,
those challenges are opportunities for us to explore,
right.
our gifts, our talents, our strengths, our superpowers.
Right. Gosh, you're very inspiring. Really, really incredible. Gosh, just love it. All right. And so I love that wisdom that nothing is impossible. Let's take our deep dive now. And this is our passion. This is like, it might be what you're doing for work. It might not be. I don't know. But like your passion and then your purpose, what tell me about that?
My passion is to speak. I love speaking. That's why I love being on podcasts. I love speaking on stage. And yeah, I love it. And it's luckily part my job, what I do. And it's also my purpose, I believe, more and more, right? So at
Right.
first I thought it was just a passion, something that I enjoy doing. But
Hmm.
more and more I see that, it's also part of my purpose, the reason why I'm here
Right.
on earth.
Right. Gosh, that is fantastic. For the listener who might not know yet, Christelle, you are what would you describe what you do for work? Because I don't want to, I want you to tell us what you do.
Yeah, I am your podcast matchmaker. So what does that mean? Means that, I get people booked on podcasts. I help heart-centered entrepreneurs. I love to emphasize on heart-centered, because my agency puts you on shows with large audiences. So it's important for me to know that your heart is in the right place. You really want to
Right.
serve and help people. That's why I love working with heart-centered entrepreneurs. So basically what we do is, once we understand your business and the audience you're trying to reach and the topics you speak on, maybe you want to promote your new book, or you're a coach, you want to fill up your coaching programs, we find the right shows. And we specifically aim for shows that are already at least in the top 10% globally, to make sure that, you actually speaking to an audience, right? Not all podcasts are the same. Some podcasts people are fun, but only their mama is listening to it, right?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we get you booked on a show that has an actual audience. And then it's a complete done for you service. You don't have to worry about anything. We take care of finding the shows, pitching, following up, and just reach out to you when you get a yes to be on the show. So yeah, that's what I do. And I also do the same for myself. That's why I'm on this show, because I love that, right? And as I said, it's part of my purpose to really inspire and empower people. And I
Right.
love to be able to support other heart-centered entrepreneurs do the same, sharing their gifts on podcasts with,
Right.
thousands or millions of listeners.
Wow, that is just incredible. How did you get into that? How did you get into that? I mean, that's just fascinating.
Yeah, that was a long way coming to know that it's part of my purpose. I'll take you back to when I was a little girl.
Okay.
Growing up in Cameroon, I remember sometimes walking on the street, looking at people and just wondering, is this person happy? That was
Ah,
a strange question for a little girl to ask.
right.
Why do you care about
Yes.
adults? But yeah, that was a question, and I will stop myself and say, Christelle, you don't even know them. Why do you care? So I'll try to suppress the question, but when I was growing up too, in my late teens, the question was coming in a different form, right? Then I will notice
Right.
celebrities, especially Rihanna, right? That one was a big one because each time she would change her hairstyle, my girlfriend and my girlfriends and I, we will want the same hairstyle because, that's a new one. And then I will go to bed thinking about that, thinking, look at that. Maybe Rihanna doesn't even know where Cameroon is, but look at how she's influencing us.
Right.
And then I would think the only reason that she's able to do that is because people know her around the world.
Right.
And then I would say, hey, if only I was able to be that visible or known, I'll be able to
Right.
actually help people be happy as I've always wanted to. I had no plan, okay? I didn't know how I'll help people be happy, but I just knew visibility was a big part of it. Like the more people saw you or knew you, the more impact you will be able to have. Then again,
Okay.
my brain would jump in and say, hey, you don't sing, so you're not the next Rihanna. Okay, forget it. So I'll go to bed. I'll go to bed on that note. And eventually in 2015, I said, you know what? If I want to give this a shot, right? Yes, I'm doing TV here, some radio. Yeah, I have some level of, people recognize me on the street, nothing crazy. But the level that I want to really help people around the world, it needs to happen, at the biggest stage. So what better place than the United States where they say anyone can become anything, right? So I said, okay, let's go to America. So then I
Wow.
came here, and after the incident that I mentioned, me being spending 9 months in jail and all of that, I didn't want to talk about it, but eventually I was getting into coaching programs for myself first. It was helping me a lot with the trauma that I have experienced. And going through all those programs, Mary Morrissey, Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, and all of that, I thought, hey, I found it. Coaching is my way of helping people the way I've always wanted to. So I said, I'm going to be a coach. At that time, I was working at LAX, yes, the same airport where it all went down. And, I was there. My job was great. This is not a story of I hate my job, I'm quitting. No, I had a
Yeah.
great job, great career ahead of me because in less than a year, I had become a manager, which was never seen in the company before. So
Wow.
as I'm there to end of 2019, I said, I found the reason why I'm here. I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to help as many people as possible. I decided to quit. They don't want to let me go. They give me a leave of absence. I'm supposed to go back to work January 2020. We know 2020, don't we?
Yes. Yes.
So, but I don't go back to work. I'd send an email to say, hey, I'm not coming back. But I decided to promote my coaching program on podcasts and speaking. So
Right.
I started getting on podcasts, even though one more time they told me, you are too new in business. You don't even have a website yet. No one wants you on their podcast. I
Oh
said,
my gosh.
emotion. I figured out how to get on podcasts. So that's how as I learned about podcasts. I started learning about podcasts, and the power of being a guest on podcasts and the impact it can make happened actually during an interview in May 2020, in the middle
Wow.
of, people starting really freaking out about the pandemic. Lockdowns start happening, businesses, people are freaking out. And I'm on a podcast. Before that, every podcast I will go on, I will simply talk about all the things that I had learned from other coaches, from other coaching programs. And I will share with people how I can use that to help them too. But
Mm-hmm.
that day, without me knowing it, I find myself sharing that story on a podcast. The story of me being arrested. I didn't even
Yes.
know I was ready to talk about it because before that, there was a lot of shame, even though I didn't do anything wrong.
Yes. Right. Right.
Yeah, that's what trauma does, right? But
Right.
so that day during that podcast interview, I shared the story and I used it to encourage people who were scared during that time to tell them, hey, life happens, but don't give up because I did it,
Mm-hmm.
right? something crazy happens to me, just like something crazy is happening right now. But if you have what it takes, just like when I was telling you at the beginning that we don't give ourselves enough credit. So, people maybe listening to this now might be in tough situations. And I use that to just tell them, you have what it takes to see this through. Don't give up, you have what it takes. So the feedback that I got from that interview made me realize that this is powerful. There is a way not only to use podcasts to just try to get clients, but this actually helps me make a difference in people's lives. Even the ones that will not hire me as a coach, my story is inspiring them. And, maybe they move forward because they heard my story. So I started getting more and more on podcasts and using that story now as my signature story. And eventually it hit me that, wait a minute, Christelle, you have always wanted to see people happier since you were a little girl. Your story is just one story. The way you can help people is just one way. But there are other experts out there, people with gifts, with talent, with great stories, who can also help people. So how about all together, you and them, reach out to all those listeners, people, millions of people listening to podcasts. How about all of you share your message, story, your expertise with them to just make a difference? And then I said, I don't want those heart-centered experts to have an excuse and say, I don't know how to get on podcast, or I don't have time to do this. I'll do it for them. Because my vision is the same. My purpose is really that. So that's why I made it as a done for you service.
Wow.
To be like, you have no excuse. The world needs what you have. I'm going to put you on the stage and the world will find out about how you can help.
Wow.
I know that was a long answer, but that's how I got it.
No, I love that answer because that I think that's so typical in a way of kind of how we arrive at a place where we land. It's not always just this very clear, straight, linear thing. It's all these other things, and you're tracing it back to when you were a little girl and wanting people to be happy and realizing fast forward that you had a way to do that. And you have to be one of the first people to do this, right? Because this is not, well, it's not uncommon, but it's not common, right?
I mean, I meet a lot of people who are surprised they never, heard of this, but actually there are other people doing that out there. But as you said, it's not that common. So
right. And then how do you find your clients? How does that work?
I drink my own medicine through podcasts and also, networking events, or this form of speaking, whether it's online summits or, any stage really that I can find. That's how I get clients. And then sometimes referrals from people that I met at networking events. And then they say, hey, actually, I know someone who could use your services. Hey, I have this client in my speaking program. She just completed it and now she needs to practice. So how about you get her booked on some shows to get her going? So yeah, that's how I get clients: referral, podcasts, and speaking.
Wow. I'm just a curious person.
Go
How
for
many
it.
clients do you have? I mean, what's the sweet spot for you?
The sweet spot is 10 clients. That's the sweet spot. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Why?
Yeah, because it's a done for you service, right? So yes, I have a team because beyond booking my clients on podcasts, we understand that if you do not do anything with your interviews, you will not have much traction, right? And it happens a lot. Sometimes I meet people who say, well, I've been on podcasts and I didn't really see nothing happen. Well, what did you do? Because again, it's a marketing strategy. You have to work it for it to work. So after your interviews, what do? You just let it to the host to do the magic for you. Or so what we do is that after each interview of our clients, we create, short form content from those interviews, clips and reels, and then we promote it on social media. We also give it to them in case they want to use it, which we encourage them to do because you definitely want to promote it to get more visibility and more traction. But we also do that on our social media. So it's a lot to make sure that all the clients, because we have different packages, right? So we have clients with 50 guaranteed podcasts within 12 months. So that's 50 interviews for one client only to create all
Wow.
that material and find the shows. So that's why I say 10, because it's a really a boutique service, because we
Right,
care about making sure that each client is served the best way possible. So
right.
we're always thinking of ways to make it better. Like right now, we are about to start a YouTube channel specifically for the agency, so that all the interviews, again, we post it there, we promote it, just again to give more and more and more. So if we want to serve at that level, we have to make it a boutique service, really. If not,
Right.
it's going to not be possible for every client to be happy. And it's important.
Right.
Remember, I
Yeah.
care, right? I care. So I
Yes,
care
you
about
care
them.
about happiness. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so the name of your agency?
Exposure Maven.
Exposure Maven. Okay, I
Mhm.
wasn't sure about that. Okay. And where can people find you if they want to check it out?
Yeah, just go on my website, exposuremaven.com. Just go
That makes it
there.
easy.
You'll find all the magic that you need to, everything you need to learn about the agency. Go on exposuremaven.com. You'll find all the information. And on social media, just you find me, Christelle Biiga, on all social media platforms. And you can see how we really,
Right.
you see a lot of videos on there because it's from clients. But yeah, you can DM me on any social media. I'll be happy to chat, and let me know you heard me on Rechelle's podcast, and I'll be
Yes.
happy to chat with you. But yeah, definitely the website is the easiest way to do that.
Right. And then I love that you're a boutique service because that implies small and hands-on, small
Mhm,
in a good sense. I don't mean like teeny tiny.
mhm,
I mean
mhm,
just like attention to detail,
mhm,
high customer service, high client satisfaction. To
mhm,
me, that's what boutique means.
mhm.
How many are on your team?
I have 3 people right now on my team.
Okay.
One person in charge of social media, because that's a lot of creating
Right.
content for
Oh my
social
gosh.
media. And then I have one person that just joined the team to take care of the YouTube channel. And then I have one person helping with, booking clients on podcast. I also help with the booking because, I meet a lot of people. So if I meet a
Right.
host, and then, so yeah, that's what is happening right now. It's 3 people plus me.
Wow. And that sounds just right. Just
Mhm.
right for what you're doing. And I think it's just incredible the way technology has blossomed into this thing where we can be better connected and we can, listen to different kinds of podcasts, and on social media we can find different kinds of people, and we can connect. We can
Mhm.
connect. Like you and I actually connected through real life relationships. But there are people I meet, and I'm sure there are people you meet that you're not even actually meeting them in real life. You're meeting
Yeah,
them through social media or through these other avenues. And
absolutely.
I think there's just so much goodness and benefit in that. And of course, there's the downside, but we're not going to talk about the downside. We're just going to talk about the good, happy upside. And I
Yeah.
love that you can trace your passion all the way back to when you were a little girl and you wanted people to be happy, and that what was it you said? You said uh, I I love to speak. My
Yes,
passion is to speak. That is
I
just so
know. And
great.
it's really, that's why sometimes when people say, I need to find my passion so that I can actually move forward. And I say, no, you will find it. Just keep moving. Just keep
Yes,
doing the things you enjoy. I was speaking, didn't really see the connection, with my little girl's desire to see people happy or help them be happy. I
right,
didn't see the connection until later on.
right.
But I didn't
Yes,
sit and wait until I find my purpose to do something, right? So
right.
I just encourage you listeners right now, don't get stuck on, oh, what is my purpose in life? You will find it.
You will
Just keep
find it.
living, just keep
Yes.
enjoying the things that you enjoy, and don't worry too much about it.
Yes, that's great advice. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say in conclusion? This has just been fantastic. I have really thoroughly enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. I really also enjoy the conversations. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I said I love to encourage and inspire and empower people. So I hope people listening to our conversation today felt inspired or
Yes.
empowered or both. And if that's
Yes.
the case, I will feel like, okay, I've done what I came here to do.
That's right. And there's something really to be said about that, because when you are in the place, the zone of where, your passion and your purpose sort of intersect, there's a richness and a fulfillment and just a joy in what you're doing. And it fills you with such meaning and a deep sense of satisfaction. And it's also likely something you're sharing. We're not really doing passion and purpose in a bubble or in a vacuum where it's meant to go out there, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's why we have passion to express it,
Yes.
right? And that's really
Yes.
the definition of passion, something that, is so strong, an emotion that is so strong that, you have to do something with it. So it's really for us to do something with it and
Right.
put it out there, put ourselves out there. So
Right. Well, that's wonderful. You've been very inspirational to me. I know that for sure. So thank you, Christelle. I really appreciate you spending this time with us today.
thank you for having me. This was amazing. Thank you so much.